If you lit a match on Titan, would it explode? So Titan's atmosphere has a lot of methane in it. It's got a lot of nitrogen like us too, but it's got a lot of methane. And here on Earth, we're familiar with methane as being very, very explosive. So the answer is probably no. And there probably aren't other places in our solar system where it would either. And let's talk about why. So when we think about fire, fire needs three different things. It needs a fuel, it needs a heat source, and it needs oxygen. So what that heat source does is it rips apart the molecules. So in this case, we'd be thinking about methane. So that methane is going to get ripped apart. Now, the oxygen is what actually is making what we think of as fire. And the reaction is going to give off more heat, which is then going to drive that ripping apart to happen more. What happens is that the oxygen smashes in and basically it forming new molecules. So CO2, by the way, smashes in and that releases heat, which then heats up the fuel more, breaking that apart, allowing the oxygen to come in, smash into it, and the cycle continues and continues. So on Titan, we have very, very cold temperatures, right? I'm not sure whether you actually could even strike a match. I have to look into that for you. But we've got very cold temperatures and we've got lots and lots of fuel. But what we don't have is the free oxygen. You've got to have oxygen for there to be fire. And that oxygen has to be available. It can't just be in a molecule. That's why when you pour water on a flame, you put it out. Even though water is H2O, it's got a bunch of oxygen in it, right? Another fun experiment you've probably all done, and if you haven't, definitely do this. It's really fun. You just take a candle, you're burning your candle, and you take a cup, you put the clear cup down on top of it, and you see the oxygen in that air gets used up, and the flame goes out. So even if you had an asteroid impact, you lit an engine for a rocket, you lit a match, you probably couldn't get the atmosphere to explode just because you don't have enough oxygen.